empower, enlighten, and entertain divas and those that love us. And here's your host, Deb St.Hilaire.
Hey, it's already the end of August. I can't believe it. We only have one more show in August. Time goes way too fast. Summer went way too fast. Are you with me? Did summer go way too fast? Everybody's nodding their heads. They don't realize that it's radio and we can't hear them. Way too fast. But, you know, I'm kind of enjoying this cooler weather. Anyway, welcome to the DIVALUTION show. Today it was a weird day, so I didn't even bother writing it down. I'm going to look, though, before we leave today. But I want to wish a happy birthday to our friend Christopher John. Remember him, Sandy? Christopher John's birthday today. So happy birthday, Christopher John. We hope to see you soon. Last week, I don't know if you listened or not. It was a weird day because I wasn't supposed to be here. I was supposed to be at my friend's celebration of life ceremony, and I canceled my show, which worked out well with our guest who's here this evening. But I forgot to cancel the show after me that I have to produce. So I couldn't go. But it ended up okay because we dedicated the show to my friend Kat Best, and we talked about loss, and it ended up being a really entertaining, fun kind of bonding show. Our good friend Mitzi Brown showed up, and she is really funny, and so it went really well. So I was happy with the way it turned out. But I was bummed I didn't go. But it ended up for the best. So our guest this evening was our guest last week, but in absentia. Her name is Jenifer Acosta. So welcome, Jenifer.
Thank you.
Oh, she gets applause. You know, and it's funny because I think everybody in Bay City probably knows who you are, except for the women in our studio. Don't you think that's funny?
Do you think that's true? Do you think everyone in town knows who I am?
Yes. What do you do? You're going to find out. So we should make them guess. We should make them guess. I think so.
I love that.
Okay, we will. So this is the first time I've met Jenifer, and but she knows several people that we know. Let's name a couple of the people that we know together. One is Laura from Elsie Makeup. Mm-hmm. One is Laura from Ferns.
Correct.
Who else?
Kate Cardinale.
Kate.
That
might be it. Do you know Andy Lieber?
No.
I should check our friends list while we're talking. So she knows. Are you listening to who she knows? You're not even listening. Jeez, oh, Pete. Juliana, you're listening. Stacy's listening. So you have to guess who she is. Our topic for this evening is about growth and change. And that pertains to you very much so, doesn't it?
It does.
Anybody ready to guess yet?
Not yet.
Okay. What is your favorite thing to do?
Either make an entire mess of my kitchen with my children, or probably walk through old disgusting buildings or construction sites.
Very good. That's really like from one end of the spectrum to the other, isn't it?
I'm an eclectic individual.
Yeah, I guess. Anybody ready to guess yet? Okay. A construction foreman. Can you be more specific?
I do have a hard hat in my car.
She has a hard hat in her car. So is she getting close? I can't hear her.
Perhaps. I mean,
You should get up to the microphone if you have a guess. Okay. You have a tie to old, beautiful things.
I do. Very much so.
So do you buy houses from people and fix them up and revert them back to the original?
No, not houses.
Bigger. So like hotels, townhouses.
Okay, let's keep going. Where did you grow up?
Here, kind of all over. I was born in Midland, raised in Freeland up through elementary school. Then we moved to actually the old Perry House on Center Avenue. So I really kind of fell in love with Old Bay City and the old architecture then. My parents kind of fixed up this old house, and it was 2 homes at the time, so we made it 1. And that was something that really resonated with me when I was young. Then we kind of moved out to Essexville, and after high school, I moved away. So I just moved back to the area 3 years ago.
So
Very
bed and
good.
breakfast owner?
I am not.
So now you're back in this area,
Correct.
and things have not changed. You still love old buildings.
Correct. I just started a company last year, actually. I was working for my family's business, doing business development before that, and I decided to strike out on my own.
You're very brave. So you're an entrepreneur.
Very much so.
Very good. And what is the name of your company?
The Neighborhood Development Co.
Oh, nice.
So you develop neighborhoods.
She's like frosting a cake, but she's not getting to the cake.
Yeah, I'm a real estate developer.
Okay.
You know the facade of the bank building that just got tore off?
You're doing that?
You know the
old
Bay
chemical
City
building?
Times building that's being renovated?
Okay.
This is Jenifer Acosta.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Tell us what the new outside is going to look like.
The outside of which building?
The chemical.
Either one. Tell us what the new outside of the building is going to look like.
It's going to be the old.
The exterior of the bank building with our proposed redevelopment would restore and repoint the upper 3 floors of masonry. And then the lower levels, we would actually take cast stone and try and almost go back to a bit of what it was. We can't recreate history, but it would be this timeless classic.
Now, this is going to be like the masonry stuff on the outside is going to change into a white. Is that what we're doing? Or is it
No.
going to be a red brick?
It would stay as it is. So I do a lot with the historic preservation programs and the Secretary for the Interior Standards, which is really just a fancy way to say that I'm at the federal government's beck and call. When they say jump, I say how high.
Aren't we all?
But you know, the beauty that was put into that architecture, we will restore and keep it just as beautiful and iconic as it is. And then we'll do something on the lower levels to complement what was done originally.
Sounds interesting.
Thank you.
Yes, and you've already made such a huge impact here in this area. You've been on the front page of the newspapers, and you know what makes me really happy about the whole thing? I mean, I want to tell you how happy I am to see that
How
Bay
happy
City.
are you?
I'm really happy to see that Bay City Times building be repurposed. It's a beautiful building. And when the front came off of that one down, oh my
chemical
God, the
building?
chemical bank building, who knew that gorgeousness was underneath there?
Why did they even do that?
But
what was going on?
That was the taste at the time.
Yes.
Look at drop ceilings. It was the same era.
Well, I know when
It
you
has
were
a lot
the
of
thing
those.
that I'm the most happy about is that you're a woman
Yay!
and you're a female entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Because it just speaks volumes that we can get our hands into some heavy duty real estate and make things happen.
It's true. I actually had a colleague from Detroit that were both members of the Urban Land Institute, which is a developers-based organization. And he traveled here to meet with me today and see what I'm up to in the hopes to acquire some of my future business. And he pointed out the fact to me that he thinks it's phenomenal. I'm one of 5 real estate developers that are women in the state of Michigan. There's very few of us. It's a very male-centered world. And I often deal with contractors and people who think, that I'm just the secretary to someone else.
Well, and you're so young too. You're that's good for you. And I would love to see the looks on their faces. Someday, will you take me on a project with you just so I can see the looks on their faces?
Sure, absolutely.
I just would love that so much.
Yeah.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
So you went to school at Southern Illinois University, and you studied sociology, focusing on poverty and inequality.
Yep. What
made you choose those areas of study? That's very fascinating.
I think it just started with this desire to make an impact or make a change. You see communities, and how can you affect change with the masses? Well, really, you have to dive in and see what the root cause is of so much inequality in the world is. And so I studied the root causes of a lot of it, and kind of how communities function and how people get left behind in communities and why.
Very good. So then you went on and studied international administration, specializing in sustainable development. So you have this whole human, really to the guts of development. You have this whole humanistic side to you.
I do.
That I think a lot of developers don't have. What sets you apart from other developers?
Well, the interesting thing about international administration and studying that in Miami is you learn a little bit of how to be a bureaucrat and how to be a bureaucrat with South American countries predominantly. I think that most real estate developers come in with a background in finance, architecture sometimes. It's one of those rare things that you wind up in that you don't necessarily go to school for. I like to say that it chose me more than I chose it. I often tell my husband that life would be a lot easier if I was like a nurse or something less risky.
Where you could leave your job at home. At the office or whatever, right?
Absolutely.
Sticking needles into somebody is a lot less precarious than building something.
Needles, nails. Sure.
What's the diff? You still have to wear some type of hat. I'm just saying. So you came back here with a plan, didn't you, when you first moved back?
The complete opposite.
You had no plan.
So I was working for my father's company. I was actually working for a real estate development firm in Miami after I'd completed my master's degree, not really knowing what I was getting myself into, and I fell in love with it. I fell hard and fast for the work. I would crank out 12, 14-hour days. I was a newlywed, and I was like, see ya, hubby. I was working all the time. I fell in love with the work. We were doing affordable housing in Miami. It hit all the points on the fact that I was a very mission-driven person, and I was proud of the change I was making. Then I was told that because my specific degree was not in real estate development, I had just finished a master's in something else, I had no future with that company, that there would never be any way to move up or do anything. I was always going to be at this low level, and pretty much any chance to downsize, I would be cut because I didn't have that specific degree that they looked for. So I said, thank you very much. I went and tried out, my father's business and did some business development there.
And he's in hospice?
Yeah. So I did business development for his hospice company, which means I traveled a lot. So that first year there, I cranked out 100,000 miles traveling, and I was pregnant with my daughter. So I did 100,000 miles before I was grounded, and I was too pregnant to fly anymore. And then it was once I was grounded, we decided we were going to sell our house. And I couldn't stand any house in Miami. I just thought that the cost to live in Miami and what it gets you and the amount I was traveling, I wasn't happy.